This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Get this, adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
And you're getting lots of compliments, as you might expect. Teneby, the montage master, has done it once again. Unprecedented response from the listeners. Does this ever happen to you, Teneby? Because it happens to me all the time. Unprecedented response from the listeners, but nary a compliment from the coroner's office.
Never.
They never say, hey, great job, well done. They never offer that up. When you're getting literally unprecedented response from the audience, you would think that the coroner's office would stand up and take notice and throw us a bone and say, hey, man, it was really nice what you guys did there. Really, really, really nice effort. But they never say that. Well, it's always, what are you going to do for me next?
It's hard to listen when you're planning a Power Trip Ireland trip. So, I mean, they got other things going on right now.
I guess you're probably right. Here's one right here. If the Wolves come out flat, Finchie should just start blasting a 10 a montage. Well done, young man. Wolves in 5. Here's another. International Bricklayers Union on notice today. Feeding families with the montage today, Tenna. Feeding families with the montage today. Welcome back to the spotlight, young man. Just informed my boss that I need the rest of the day off after that montage. Great montage, tend to be super fan Justin Guard would be proud. Fist pumping in my car during that entire montage. Welcome back to the spotlight, young man. Interim producer, cooked. Here's another. Comment, I just ran through my office wall to get to my radio on the other side of the wall. Not only should you strip the bridge producer title, you should promote tend to be to semi-permanent producer. Goosebumps. Here's another. One more time, one more brick wall demolished. Though tend to be, there's always the negatives out there, you know. Awful song, awful energy, awful montage. This was a terrible city, terrible fans, terrible team. But we're rising above that. Do better, Teneby. That montage, below average at best. He's entitled to his opinion. We know we're not going to please everyone, so what do?
Please ourselves.
That's exactly right, and that's exactly what we've done. We might want to play that montage to close out the show.
I bet you'd like that.
Well, because other shows, I find out repeat interviews and repeat, they just same day say, hey, let's re-rack that and run it again.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's just so good. We have to re-rack it. So why don't we do that? Why don't we do that as well? How about this? Perhaps Tenna's best work. They call it work. I love it. Perhaps tennis, it's sort of like, if you were Monet or Renoir, or, Brahms or Beethoven. They're actually calling your montages work like the great artists. I love it. Perhaps Tenna's best work since Vikings versus Bills montage a few years ago. One more time, baby. Ow!
What was the Vikings-Bills one?
you don't see. You've done so many, you don't even remember them. There's. It's like Van Morrison, the singer. Everybody thinks "Brown Eyed Girl" is the best song. It's probably his most commercially successful song. And people ask why he doesn't do it in concert. He goes, "Because I wrote hundreds of better songs." So my guess is you've done so many great montages, they just kind of run together after a while. I go, Bills, Vikings, what did I do? So I understand that you not actually knowing. But for the fans out there, Tennessee, when they hear a montage, it's sort of like announcing the 4th draft pick of the Minnesota Vikings. It's a life-changing experience for a lot of these people. I like this one. Goosebumps. Comment, how quickly would you have turned the dial? Well, if it wasn't a montage, it would have been quick. Yeah, I wouldn't have listened to that song.
You actually like another song from that group.
Oh.
So that group is Daft Punk.
Oh.
And you like
Stay
Up All Night to Get Lucky.
Yeah, I do like that song a lot. There's some of the kids' music that I do. I must admit, it's catchy. I also like I'm going to pop some tags. I got $20 in my pocket. I don't know why I like it.
There is a kid's song that I've had in my head the last 3-4 days that could make a perfect montage song, except for it's 2 minutes long. So I'm trying to figure out how do I. Now you would get those emails and be like, "This is terrible music," because it's a kid's song.
Yeah, but we don't care about that. It's how could we switch it from 2 minutes? Because we've had to do that with the opposite. When we start a season, we always Chicago's only the beginning because the season just started. It's only the beginning. And that runs like 7 or 8 minutes, and you edit it perfectly because after we play the montage, and we want to get to the bottom for the dead list. Only the beginning, and then we do, Warriors, dead, Nuggets, dead, the whole thing. And that's
the one today. I actually extended about 45 seconds.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had to expand it. But it's hard to go it's easier to go from 3.5 to 4:15 than it is to go from 2. I literally have to just repeat the exact same verse, which I might do.
Maybe you should go to work for Chrysalis Records, or if you're able to edit I'd like
to go to Death Row Records.
Maybe why with your ability to edit like that, I didn't even notice. Of course, I'd never heard the song before. Maybe you could work for Death Row Records.
I would love to.
And you're being there.
Don't know if it'd be safe, but
you're that soundboard guy. You're the sound engineer. That would be a great gig, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Being the sound engineer. Here's another. I guess I didn't need that cup of coffee. Thanks, Tina. Here's one. Yes, chef. Microwave that montage. Who would have thought that someone who doesn't like his food touching would turn out to be the head chef at KFAN? That's so good. I just love that the listeners get the bit. This one is really good, too. I think it's official. Time to change Tennebee's name to Ten a Brick Wall, because all we do is run through them. So there we go. Game 5 on this radio station tonight. They have to play. It's obligatory. They're going to have an opening tap. They're going to go through the motions, and it'll be a wild time. Will they white out at the bullseye tonight? And if Rosen goes in that front row seat, will he play along and enjoy it with all the other fans and be part of the team and put on that white T-shirt? Or will he just sit there in his pink Tommy Bahama Hawaiian shirt?
Let your hair down, Rosen.
Let it down a little bit. Let's take a break, come back. We'll talk about the Wolves, and we'll talk about a little of this and a little of that. But right now, we have bonus bucks keyword.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword FUN at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is FUN. Enter now at KFAN.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hey, friend. I know how it feels, waking up exhausted after multiple trips to the bathroom and feeling embarrassed by sudden leaks. I used to be constantly on edge, searching for a restroom whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Woman. I was skeptical at first, but 2 months in, everything changed. I experienced improved bladder control, no more heart-stopping moments when I laugh or sneeze, less urge to go, deeper and more restful sleep. I finally felt like myself again, confident and in control. Better Woman is natural, effective, and trusted by women for over 25 years. Ready to take back your control? Head over to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was, he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was, he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. Like, yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Fan.
Get ready, Minnesota. ZZ Top is bringing their legendary rock sound to the land of 10,000 lakes.
Got a whole lot of love. Got a whole lot of love.
Don't miss your chance to see these rock icons live at the Ledge Amphitheater on June 12th. Tickets are on sale now, and you can get all the details over at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Whole lot of love, or Can't You Smell That Smell are probably my favorite ZZ Top songs. I can't decide which one. It's kind of a coin toss. Maybe we should spin Wheel of Topics for it. Time for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric, your old home specialist. May Electrical Safety Month. Affordable Electric is here to remind you safety starts at home or your business. Their licensed electricians are ready to help with safety inspections, surge protection, panel upgrades, and more, because even small issues can lead to big problems. So go ahead and schedule an inspection and make sure you're ship shape. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com to schedule your appointment. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. A couple of things tend to be. Minnesota Vikings sent me a news release. I'm on their communications email list. It says Vikings media this was yesterday, following this morning's international game announcements, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell was made available to both the UK and Irish media. You may access the full media availabilities here, and you can also be found on the Vikings online media center. Please feel free to use these quotes as desired. And I'm assuming because Kevin O'Connell is Irish, he did not need an interpreter for when the Irish media were asking the questions, right? Because had he not been Irish, they probably would have had somebody there that can speak the Irish language and translate them into English so that he'd be able to do it. Not so much trouble, of course, with the London media, but that Dublin media probably. It was just easy for Kevin. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't speak fluent Irish, but I would assume he does. So. It wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. I thought you would think it was hilarious, but guess it wasn't as funny as I thought.
No, it was amusing. No. It was new.
Yeah, it was new. It was new, yeah.
I was just trying to find a way to add on to it, and I struggled.
Because I guess you could have said, manly, yes, but I love it. Remember, wasn't that
Irish Spring? Yeah.
There is news, Tennessee. Tonight's the night. NFL schedule release is all right. That's a 3-hour show tonight, I think, on. I think, how You know how well, like if the president is going to give an address, the over-the-air networks, CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox, they'll preempt regular programming. They'll stop American Idol to have the president. I'm hearing all over the country, all the over-the-air, CBS, NBC, Fox, and CBS, NBC, Fox. Who am I leaving out? CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox. They're going to preempt programming to do the 3-hour NFL schedule release. That's how important it is.
Are we doing a schedule release show? That's my question. The Wolves don't start till 8:30. If
Charch was still in town, they would do it. You know that for sure. But Ben Gessling, who covers the Purple, this tweet that you passed along to me says the hashtag Vikings are expected to host the Detroit Lions on December 25th. Oh my gosh. In a Christmas Day matchup of the two teams that battled for the NFC North title last year. The
war has not been restored.
I couldn't ask for a better Christmas gift. Tear that bad boy open and a Lions victory. Go ahead, give me the negatrometer. And a Lions victory. You know what? The Vikings are going to go undefeated this year. This is the year the Vikings are going to go all the way to the big game. That's a good matchup. That's tasty. That's nice. You get up, you tear open the gifts, you have a little eggnog. Maybe a nice little, maybe you go to a Christmas Day church service. Then have your dinner and your eggnog and then settle in for kiddies. Though Deuce and I have historically gone to we've only missed one Lions Kiddies game at US Bank Stadium. And so, but we generally go to that game. So I think that will be there Christmas Day. Maybe we'll get on Santa's sleigh and be there on Christmas Day. We'll get on Santa's sleigh and get there on Christmas Day. Yeah, so that'll be fun. That's a good matchup. And boy, that point of the season, I don't think that's the last game. Isn't it now generally the first weekend of January is the final week of the NFL season, regular season? So that'll be that's probably a week 17 matchup, right?
I would assume.
It probably would be. And it could be, get back, season's on the line for both clubs. Though, again, while it looks tasty right now and delicious, it looks like a real nice candy cane. It could end up just being a dud. One of the two teams could be ravaged with injuries or just have a poor season. It's like, here we are, 14-2 Vikings taking on the 2-14 Lions. I don't expect that to happen, but on paper, this looks like a great matchup. And the division could be on the line. I had heard a leak, too, and did I bring this up to you? Maybe you were the one that brought it up to me. Vikings-Lions were going to start the season. Oh my gosh! So kind of bookend it.
Remember when Vikings-Packers used to be kind of the big rivalry in this division? Apparently that's changed.
Because of recent vintage performances, yes.
They want some Dan Campbell versus quarterback whisperers, what the NFL wants.
I think that's exactly what they're looking for. And that would be a grand way to start out the season. And we know every game counts the same in the standings, but as we know, those division games, when it comes to tiebreakers and such like that, are important. So, if you are meeting, even if it's not Detroit, let's say they're playing Chicago or Green Bay in the opener. If they're not, that's cool too. But if you're playing a division opponent in the opener, man, that game even adds more importance because you do not want to lose those games. And so, one team gets off to the great start. They're 1-0, got one up in that, in the loss and win column. And they also have the tiebreaker advantage. The other team is already searching for answers and then tend to be, how about this? Let's say you lose week 1 to your division opponent. What percentage of teams that go 0-2 make the playoffs? About 12%, right? So
I always love that.
You lose that opener to a division opponent. You
must-win territory.
Yeah, you have all the aforementioned negatives toward that, and then you've got if you lose again, you're basically done. You lose the second. If you lose 2 in a row to start the season, your season is basically over. So, big games, big time fun. Schedule release tonight, I think, is at 7 o'clock. We'll get the entire schedule. Of course, everybody knows. We know the opponents. We just don't know we know the who, the what, the why, but we don't know the where and the when. But we're going to find all of that out.
Well, it seems like we know the where and the when for half the games now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true, too. But it'll be tonight. So we'll pause. By the way, Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com for May is Electrical Safety Month, and go ahead and get an inspection scheduled for your home or office sometime soon. Quick break, come back. Let's talk a little Game 5 and another Game 5 last night that was played. That was a couple of Game 5s. No, it was a Pacers game, and what number was that?
That was Game 5, yeah.
So 2 Game 5s from last night. We'll talk about those as well. Common Man program here in the Fan.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. Like, yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get ready, Minnesota. The legendary Bryan Adams is bringing...
No way.
I like how the second time we've had to say, get ready, Minnesota. Yeah. The legendary Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams
is bringing his Roll with the Punches tour to Target Center on November 26th.
I should have known better than to fall in love with you.
Don't miss this epic night of rock anthems and unforgettable hits. Tickets are on sale now. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar. Get ready, Minnesota.
You need to get ready now. I mean, if you're going to start getting ready for Bryan Adams, you better start getting ready right now. And ladies, guess who is going to be there?
Craig the Hurricane Tanner?
Correct. He'll be at the concert. He's open.
I always
so make
love
sure you're there
one.
for that. It took me a while. It took me through the entire break. But I was wondering why you didn't really share my glee with Kitty's Vikings on Christmas Day, because you're a master control supervisor.
Oh, I'm not too happy about it.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah.
While your kids are, where's Daddy? I want to see it. And you're going to be gone. You're going to be here at the studio.
The NFL hates my family.
Yeah.
And for like you, I don't know what time the game's going to be. That hasn't been officially announced yet. But let's say it's
3 o'clock. Or nooner.
Let's say 12 o'clock start, because that makes my story sound even more of a sad story.
Sure.
You can get all your Christmas stuff done in the morning. You can unwrap presents, blah, blah, blah. And then you are just committed basically from like noon to 3.
Right.
Whereas our pregame would start at 10.
Oh.
I need to get here an hour or so before the pregame to make sure everything's set up properly. And then after, you've got a postgame, you've got fan line. I mean, this is turning into a 7-8 hour day
right
on Christmas for someone that just has to push some buttons.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just kind of get in, get out, and it's a great addition. You were kind of bored at that point anyway.
Well, there's that.
Think of all the ushers at U.S. Bank Stadium now that won't be spending time with their family on Christmas because they have to work.
Well, there's that.
People run the concessions.
Well, there's that.
Karin.
Well, there's that. Cheerleaders. Well, there's
yes,
that.
the cheerleaders.
Locker room attendants. Well, there's that.
The person that has to walk onto the field during timeouts and squirt water bottles into the players' mouths because apparently they can't do it themselves.
Equipment managers. Well, there's that.
Certified athletic trainers.
Well, there's that. Ushers. Well, there's that. Wow, how sad. I didn't think of it that way. Sorry, I'm so selfish.
It takes up your entire day.
You want me to do the marvelous Marvin Hagler, Mustafa Ham show bit? I saw the meat hanging down from around his eyes and thought, better him than me, so I kept punching. So better you than me. Sorry, I feel bad, but I can't. You can't change that. Is that song by Ray Parker Jr. and Radio? Isn't that song? But you can't change that.
Are you sure that isn't Ghostbusters?
Well, he does that, the Ghostbusters song, but but you can't change that. I don't recall.
Maybe on December 23rd.
Right. Now you're starting to
get something in my lungs.
Or how about this? Maybe you could try to contact Santa and see if he could put you at least early stop on the list, so that you get your toys like at 6 a.m. Kids can get up early, tear them apart, then you go to work. Because if he doesn't get to your place till 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you are done. It's over. You have no chance. It's not
even just that. Then you go over to you go to Grandpa and Grandma's house and you open presents there and you see everyone in the family. And then, do you know how kids act on Christmas Day? They're a little bonkers.
Yeah.
And now we just have one parent to handle it.
I think NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle is a Grinch. He should wear a Grinch costume.
And it's a Thursday game. Just play them on Sunday. Let the NBA have
Thursday as well.
Yes.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
Let the NBA have Christmas. They started it. Let them have it. You don't need to steal everything, NFL.
Yeah, that's it's just like when the Wild stole the whiteout from the Winnipeg Jets. You don't have to steal things from everybody. Just come up with your own stuff. Somebody stole my Common Man bit. Did you know he got let go?
Oh, he did. Yeah. What happened?
I think it was just budget cuts, I think. But yeah, the Common Man in Columbus, Ohio. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's a fact, but somebody told me. Dunzo. End of the run. Unplug your headsets. So anyway, well, that kind of puts a damper on everything, I guess. Now, I guess every time we talk about that game, I kind of talk about it in somber tones. Whereas for me, it was just going to be, it's the most wonderful time of the year. With tutties and figgies and defensive holding and pass interference. It was going to be the most wonderful time of the year. And for you, it's going to be just awful.
Yes.
And then it's awful for your wife, like I too, because she's now double up on the. She'll still enjoy Christmas with the kids, but she's going to be doubling her duties as parenting.
But you brought up the point earlier of odds are it'll be a meaningful game.
Yeah.
There's also, it's the NFL. Yeah. There's also a decent chance that at that time of the year, I've sat through many meaningless games where it's a preseason game. There's zero excitement, right? The Vikings are 6 and 9 at the time. Can't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're just stringing it out. And it's just dead in there.
Oh.
Game's meaningless.
I won't even go to the game then. Deuce and I won't even go if it doesn't mean anything. I think we're beyond. Well, he's still got some rube in him. He's not, I don't think he's quite to JG's level.
JG I saw on Twitter yesterday, was asked about how big of a Ruby was because he did that. And he's like, well, I went to Game 5 and Game 7 in Denver last year and no one said a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's because I didn't know. If I would have known, it would have become a thing.
But even at least that was, Game 7.
Right. Well, sure.
It's a Game 7. It's a great series. We're going up against the defending champs. Yes. This was
Game 4.
We all know this is going to be done in 5 games after Steph got hurt.
Yeah, and you knew Game 4, it wasn't a clinching game. It was Game 4, okay? Yeah. And you knew, like you say, you knew the Wolves. Like tonight, there is zero chance Golden State wins. If they do, then it might be the worst loss in the history of the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise, right? I mean, you don't lose to this team at home with a chance in front of your fans to clinch it without Steph Curry. You talk about asterisks. This is it. I love this quote, Tenneby. The winning team writes the script. Did you see who said that? Rick Carlisle. He's the head coach of the Indiana Pacers. They win 114-105. They beat the Cavs. That clinches it 4-1, right? Dunzo, over. Carlisle said, I have to give our guys credit. This is one of the best teams in the league. I'm sorry their season had to end like this. They had the perfect season. We came along and were hot at the right time, and they were, because the Cavs were terrific all year, right? The front runners all year. What was the record? It wasn't as good as OKC's. Did they have the second best record in the league, or am I way off the mark here? I know Abbott wishes
they were 64-18.
Wow, 64-18. I mean, that's like, that would be the equivalent of being 15-1 and then not making the big game. Has that ever happened before? That's almost the equivalent of it.
Well, and Rosen kind of scoffed at the Indiana Pacers the other day, and I said I would not write off
Correct.
They just took down a 64-18 team in 5 games.
That's correct.
And they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. So the 2 years in a row they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's correct. Donovan Mitchell.
Just because they don't have anyone on the team that you know their name doesn't mean they aren't a good basketball team.
I know one guy's name on the team, Donovan Mitchell. He missed the second half of Sunday's game with a left ankle sprain. He led Cleveland with 35, but that just wasn't enough. Ev Mobley added 24 and 11 rebounds, but, top-seeded Cavs swept their first-round series against Miami. But the key, Tennessee, is they just weren't able to go toe-to-toe with the Pacers up-tempo kind of a game. That up-tempo game, if you're a half-court team for the most part, that up-tempo game can throw you for a loop. I got a feeling that Tennessee, it's not as though the Pacers are going to have an extended time to rest, because the other Eastern Conference series is also 3-1, and my assumption is that's going to end.
New York's close it.
Yeah, I think they will. With Tatum out, it's hard to believe. I guess it's the equivalent to Steph Curry not being with Golden State. I had several people suggest, because I was doing the asterisk thing with Steph Curry out, and said, well, with Tatum out, is that an asterisk? Yeah, not really. I mean, Boston was going to lose that game anyways. That was right at the injury, or just a couple of buckets before that was the turning point in that game. The Knicks were pulling away. And the Knicks already proved they could beat them 3 times out of 4 with Tatum. So Tatum certainly would have made a difference. But I think it's over for Boston tonight. So that'll set up Pacers versus Knickerbockers. And, we talked about this, Tennessee, about how I think most of us were looking forward to the Golden State-Minnesota matchup rather than Houston-Minnesota. We got it. Steph getting hurt took a little of the icing off the cake, so to speak. But, I mean, Bodega Cat and again, they got to beat Boston, they got to get by the Pacers, but Bodega Cat, and then the Wolves, they've got to beat Golden State, and then they got to get past either OKC or Denver. It's beginning to look more and more like it's going to be OKC, though they go back to Denver. And then how about that game last night? Did you see? I hadn't really planned to watch. I had some work to do last night. Roll in around 10 o'clock, have a late night snack, and I turn on Denver versus OKC, and it was high drama. I mean, I got locked into that game. It was a terrific game. And Joker is, I know why he won 3 MVPs. I know why. He was brilliant again last night. And the one bucket late, as he was trying to keep pace with OKC, he's like at the top of the circle, and he's doing some spin and trying to work his way around a guy. And he kind of throws this 3-point shot like over his shoulder without looking at the basket or something, and it's just nothing but net from 3-point range. Just an astonishing bucket. But I tell you what, OKC is going to be a hell of a challenge for the Wolves if it ends up being that.
Yes.
And I'll say that. I think what's good is the Wolves, I think they run a little deep with their rotation, but not OKC plays 10 guys all day, every day. They've been doing it all season long, and they have 10 guys. They were even asked, a couple of the players were asked last night during post-game interviews on TNT, why do all 10 guys seem to always contribute and play well? And he says, well, it's because we've been doing it all year. The coach trusts them. So because they're confident, they come in at a moment's notice and they do it all the time. It doesn't bother them. And that's why they were able to play that tenacious defense and get up and down the floor, because they have players that they can, they can mix and match their players. And so that now again, they only lost, did OKC lose 14 games this year. I think they've lost 14.
Yeah, they're 68-14.
We handed them 2 of their losses. And one of them was that amazing comeback when we were down 23, 28, whatever it was. And that game looked like that was it. It was, the old Dandy Don Meredith, turn out the lights, the party's over, and they came back and won. So I certainly think Minnesota, Matt, that has a chance to be an all-timer for a final series. I don't know enough about the Pacers, much like Rosen. I don't know many players on the team, so that's why I discount them. And I just like saying Bodega Cat, and I just like Big Meow. I wish he would have taken me up on that offer, me and him, 18 holes, like 1 year, his 1 year salary of him against 1 year salary of mine.
I'm sure you would like that.
Well, I loved his response. He said, that doesn't sound like a very good deal for me. Something to that extent. And he's right.
I always love that one.
Of course, I would have to sell my house too, right? Because I don't know what I would have done if I lost a year's salary. Though I think I know enough people that I could get somebody to say, look.
To back you?
Well, yeah, if you'll pay for my loss if I lose. Because what does Cat make a year?
Well, I'm sure he's making 40, 50 million a year.
So let's say it's 50 million. I'll give you $10 million of the $50 million if you'll back my year's salary if I lose. I think there's a lot of people that...
You see it like in the World Series of Poker all the time, right? Like it costs,
really?
Oh, yeah. It costs $10,000 to get into the main event. And there are other people that will back you.
Oh, seriously?
And then they get a percentage of your winnings.
Oh, right. Yeah, I like that. Because, I look, the club is my brush. The ball is my paint. The course is my canvas. You've listened to Wheel of Topic enough. Oddly, it lands on Common's golf game quite often. I can get the ball in the hole. I can golf my ball. But, you're facing a guy that, he's a world-class athlete.
I've heard he can hit the ball a mile, like 400 yards.
You're right. And so that would be the other thing we'd have to establish, where do we play? And then how long is the course? I'd like to pick a course where, we'll play the tips, but the tips are like Rum River Hills or 6,300 yards. That's
Pheasant Acres.
Yeah, that's the tips. That's what we play. I got to think there'd be pressure thinking about winning $50 million, but if I have somebody backing me, I'm just going to be swashbuckling, throwing darts or attempting to throw darts. I would have no fear at all. Thinking this could be my big moment, man. Now, let's say he's making $50 million a year and I give somebody $20 million to back my loss. And I make 30. That ain't going to get me to the grave, foo. So, maybe that's not such a good bet for me. Because $30 million ain't going to get you to the grave. We know that. But...
Also, I'd rather win the $1 million Powerball than the $250 million Powerball.
The quiet $1 million?
Yeah, the quiet $1 million.
Did Marnie win that year?
I think she did, yes.
And Chris Carter won that year.
The year of those $30 million, yeah.
But who was he talking about again? I don't even remember. Some player, he was going to sign a contract. He was $30 million, ain't going to get you to the grave. So there have been a lot of great ones, but yeah, so yeah, and I don't. Yeah, just the matchup against again. I look at. I'm a maybe Brother Peter said it best. I'm a casual when it comes to the NBA, so I don't know if it ends up being an Oklahoma City versus Timberwolves matchup. I mean, I know they switch and get different defensive assignments and zones and this and that, but would it be SGA and Ant squaring off, do you think? Do you think that would be the square off, or do you put McDaniels and his defensive abilities against SGA? I just don't know. I don't know what the matchup would be.
Well, I think what makes this Timberwolves team, I have more confidence even in this one than last year, and I had confidence in last year's team. Yeah. They seemingly have multiple players who can guard multiple players, right? Like, we haven't even really talked about it after Game 4. Jimmy Butler, since Steph has gone down, minus Game 1, but even just like the last two games, Game 3, Game 4, like he's kind of been a non-factor. Yeah. And, given they don't have Steph Curry, like Jimmy had to be the guy.
Well, Game 3, he went off for 30 or 33, but
in the fourth quarter there.
No, right, absolutely.
But I mean, Game 4, he was virtually a non-factor.
Yes, it was virtually a non-factor. And so, and then, I wonder about the side, Holmgren, Chet looks hungry. Holmgren's got a ton of talent. I mean, he's a 7'1", center that runs the floor like a point guard and can shoot like one occasionally. He can hit the outside shot. And then what's the other guy? Hammerschmidt, Rammer, whatever his name is. They got another big guy that's got a lot of talent. And, we got Rudy, and he's been the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. But I think Rudy will have his hands full. If you're into sports, your whole life just sports, you're into the NBA and really into the Wolves, I think it's
Isaiah Hartenstein?
Yeah, Hartenstein is the guy. Hartenstein's the guy. He can play a little bit last night. I've seen him before. I'm not going to pretend that I've got the OKC basketball network and I'm watching all their games, but he can play a little bit.
I would assume if that Julius Randle would probably be guarding Chet.
Yeah.
And that would be an interesting matchup of height and length versus play bully ball with you.
Yeah. The little
play physical with you.
Yeah. Well, and then, we have, Ant can score, Randall can score. Are we going to go with DiVincenzo or DiVincenzo today? He can score. Nas can score.
Jaden can score.
Yes, Jaden can score. These guys they can all hit the three, right? And Connolly can even contribute occasionally scoring. But
Jaden's added a little bit of I think they mentioned it in the broadcast, a little bit of a mid-range to his game.
Well, the kid for Golden State, the Dort character, I just like the name Dort. I mean, he was just brilliant in the second half. He can shoot. Both teams have weapons. Both teams can run the floor. Both teams can play defense. Both teams have some size. I love the matchup. I think it's got a chance to be an all-timer. And I know you're thinking you're getting ahead of yourself now.
It's so weird to be a Minnesota sports fan looking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It doesn't.
Like we're still used to waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, it is. It's the other Chuck Taylor, size 13, 14 Chuck Taylor to drop. I don't think so. So again, I know both teams have 3-1 leads and have to win their games. They're both tonight. No, I was thinking Boston, Denver. Denver and OKC. They'll play tomorrow night, right? Tonight it's Celtics versus Knickerbockers and Wolves versus Golden State. But OKC has to finish it off. They have a 3-2 lead. They need to finish theirs off, and so do the Wolves. But it could be really good stuff. Let's do this. Let's take a break. That was a fast-paced, controversial first half. I don't mind saying so myself. And you know what? I don't. 534, top of the hour, 10 with a tease, please.
One commissioner is finally wearing rose-colored glasses.
Some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
Yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.